Welcome to a deep dive into an idea that sounds, well, almost impossible. Maybe even a little provocative.
Uh-huh.
Finding true happiness, not just affordably, but in a way that really redefines what you thought buying it even meant.
Yeah, it's quite the claim.
So today, we're tearing into a fantastic collection of insights, really centered around Tammy Strobel's book, You Can Buy Happiness, and It's Cheap. How one woman radically simplified her life and how you can too.
It's a great starting point.
And our mission, for you listening, is to pull out the core wisdom from these sources, help you maybe rethink your relationship with money, with possessions.
And maybe even those unspoken societal norms that kind of box us in.
Exactly. All to help you uncover, hopefully, a more joyful and fulfilling life.
It's true, though, the title itself is a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Buy happiness, and then it's cheap.
Right. Seems contradictory.
But this deep dive, I think it's going to reveal that true happiness isn't really waiting for you at the checkout counter. Not really. Instead, it's more about making these deeply intentional choices. Things that often cost far less.
But give you much more in return.
Exactly. We're going to explore how radically simplifying your life might just be the ultimate shortcut to being truly well-informed about your own well-being.
So that's the shiny promise, right? The possibility.
Sure.
But the sources, they pretty quickly take us to the flip side, the trap, maybe, that many of us don't even realize we're in.
The normal life trap.
Yeah. When you conjure up an image of a normal life in the U.S., what comes to mind? For most people, it's, accumulating possessions, building wealth.
That aspiration for the big house, the new car.
It's the standard blueprint we're handed, sort of.
And what's really eye-opening is how quickly that normal can become this relentless cycle. Researchers like Sonja Lyubomirsky describe something called the hedonic treadmill.
Ah, the hedonic treadmill. Okay.
Think about it. You buy that cute new blouse or that new gadget, and you feel this great surge of pleasure.
For a moment, yeah.
But it's fleeting. Almost instantly, you adapt, the novelty wears off, and then boom, you're looking for the next thing to buy.
So it just keeps going.
It's a continuous, often depleting cycle of consumption. And for millions, it's a direct path to, significant debt and a lot of stress.
And the financial strain of that cycle is stark. I mean, looking back, the sources paint a pretty sobering picture. Take 2011.
Yeah, that was a tough year.
The nation's poverty rate soared to 15.1%, highest in 17 years.
Wow.
And at the same time, household income declined, and the average American was carrying over $8,000 in credit card debt.
8,000. Across how many cards?
6.5 different cards on average. That's not just plastic. That's a heavy burden.
Yeah, heavy burden of obligation for so many people. And the emotional toll of this debt, I mean, it can be absolutely devastating.
Right.
The sources mention some extreme examples, but they really underscore the impact. Carlene Balderrama, 53, in Massachusetts. She tragically took her own life after her family's home was foreclosed upon.
Oh, that's awful.
And in that same month, Emilio Saladriagas, a 62-year-old man in New Jersey, set himself on fire, just overwhelmed by late payment notices.
These are horrifying stories.
They are horrific, absolutely. But they serve as this chilling reminder of how debt can lead to immense stress, feelings of inadequacy, despair, and, deep shame for so many. It's a silent burden for millions.
And that stress, it doesn't just stay in your wallet or your head.
Right. No, not at all.
It translates into something sociologists call the work-spend treadmill.
Yeah, Juliet Shore talks about this, how people feeling the strain of stressful work lives often respond by participating in an orgy of consumer upscaling.
An orgy of upscaling. Wow.
It sounds intense, but it's this idea that it fuels a cycle where you have to work longer hours just to pay for the stuff you've already bought.
Which makes it incredibly difficult to pursue other dreams, right? Like changing careers or taking time off.
Or volunteering or just focusing on your health, because that debt keeps you tied to a job that might be completely draining you.
It's a trap.
Exactly. And the author, Tammy Strobel, she admits she was caught in this very trap herself. In her early 20s, she developed what she called a bad case of house lust.
House lust. I think many people can relate to that.
For sure. She was heavily influenced by coworkers who saw home ownership as this fantastic retirement plan, a great investment.
Even though she already had significant student loan debt herself.
Yep. And she found herself comparing her small apartment to her friend Janet's gorgeous Better Homes and Gardens custom home, feeling like her own place was, quote, trashy by comparison.
Oof. That comparison game is brutal.
It really is. This desire for the normal markers of success can become a really heavy burden.
You know, it's easy to just see shopping as wanting stuff.
Yeah.
But what the source reveals, and this is a really profound insight, I think,
What's that?
is that often it's less about want and more about avoidance.
Ah, okay. Avoiding what?
Well, maybe anger, stress, boredom, loneliness. We're not just buying a gadget. We might be unconsciously trying to buy our way out of those feelings.
That makes sense. It's a surprisingly common coping mechanism. The source says an estimated 6% of U.S. adults are actually addicted to shopping.
6%, that's over 14 million people.
Yeah. And the author herself admitted using shopping breaks at the mall almost like a distraction.
To avoid dealing with her student loan debt.
Exactly.
And this accumulation of stuff, it reaches a staggering scale in our society, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The sheer volume is wild. Look at the self-storage phenomenon.
Right. The source mentioned that.
In 2009, there were over 50,000 self-storage facilities in the U.S.
50,000. How does that compare to, say, fast food?
Get this. It's more than McDonald's and Starbucks combined.
Wow. That's it. That says a lot.
It really does. It's a massive indicator of how much stuff people acquire that they literally don't have room for in their own homes.
It makes you pause and ask, if we're buying so much, why are we then paying extra to store it somewhere else?
It's a great question.
So, okay, if materialism is this kind of trap, how do you escape? How do you find that path to simplicity and, true well-being?
Well, the book highlights some really pivotal turning points for radical simplification. And often, it starts with inspiration.
Like finding someone who's done it.
Exactly. One story that profoundly impacted Tammy Strobel was Dee Williams.
Ah, the tiny house pioneer.
Right. After seeing homes in Guatemala, she downsized her entire life into an 84-square-foot tiny home, just prioritized relationships and community over material goods.
And that resonated with the author.
Deeply. And for Tammy herself, another truly transformative moment was a trip she took.
Where did she go?
To Chiapas, Mexico, to volunteer with the Mexico Solidarity Network. She was initially hesitant, because of her debt.
Understandable.
But then she found herself living out of a backpack. And she witnessed the Zapatistas' genuine happiness despite having none of the necessities we take for granted.
Like cars, fancy clothes.
Not even a TV. And this experience, she says, fundamentally rethought her worldview. She saw her own privilege and realized many of her worries were, well, kind of selfish in comparison.
That's powerful. So she comes back with this new perspective. What happens next?
Well, ironically, it wasn't some grand revelation that forced her and her husband to finally confront their debt. It was buying a new car.
A car. After all that.
Yeah. She called it the 3,000-pound straw.
Yeah.
It was the catalyst.
The breaking point.
It forced them to do this reflective activity called Best Possible Selves, where they actually sat down and wrote out their future goals.
Visualizing what they really wanted.
Exactly. Visualizing a debt-free future, pursuing those long-held dreams like changing careers, which they realized would be so much easier without that constant financial weight.
So, okay, they're committed. How do you actually start decluttering all that stuff?
The book offers some really practical steps. A gradual approach is key.
Like, don't try to do it all at once.
Right. Maybe start by donating just 10 items a week. It's a process, not an overnight fix.
Makes sense.
Another powerful tool they found was the 100 Thing Challenge.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. What's the idea?
It basically forces you to inventory all your possessions and really examine your buying patterns. But what's cool is it's adaptable.
How so?
Well, the challenge's creator, Vave Bruno, he counted his entire library as just one thing, so you can make it work for you.
I love that flexibility. But for a lot of people, the thought of getting rid of possessions is, well, it's scary. What about facing those fears?
That's a crucial point. The author really emphasizes the importance of actually writing down your feels about downsizing.
Getting specific about them.
Yeah. For her, it was the fear of social judgment, like, what will people think if we don't have a car or a traditional house?
And what happened?
What she found after actually doing it was that those fears mostly didn't materialize. Friends and family, after a lot of conversation, eventually supported her decision.
So a lot of the anxiety was internal.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
We impose these social norms on ourselves.
Finding a support network seems absolutely crucial, too.
Totally. The author found that just blogging about her journey helped keep her accountable. Her readers were rooting for her.
That's great.
And when it comes to evaluating what to keep, some micro actions can really help.
Micro actions? Like what?
Like Quantify the time you spend managing your possessions.
Yeah.
Assess how often you genuinely use something. And really consider sharing or borrowing instead of owning.
Like using the public library instead of buying every single book.
Exactly. Simple shifts like that.
And what if you're doing this with a partner? That seems like it could get tricky.
Oh, for sure. Communication is non-negotiable. The author is very frank. She and her husband had plenty of disagreements over stuff during decluttering.
I bet.
But open dialogue, being willing to compromise, that was key to their success.
Makes sense. Any other specific techniques?
Yeah, another fascinating approach, especially for clothes, is Project 333.
333.
Yeah, it's Courtney Carver's minimalist fashion project. You narrow your entire wardrobe down to just 33 items for 3 months.
33 items, including shoes and accessories.
Yep.
It's incredibly effective at making you question what you truly need versus what you just want.
Wow. That sounds intense, but powerful.
It really is. And there's some compelling research explaining why we cling to stuff so tightly.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Studies from Yale and the University of New Hampshire suggest people value possessions because, well, ownership of goods promotes feelings of security.
Ah, okay. It's like a security blanket made of stuff.
Kind of, yeah. It taps into something almost primal. But here's the interesting part.
What's that?
The same research found that feeling genuinely loved and accepted by others can significantly reduce this attachment to material goods.
So real connection provides a deeper security than things can.
Exactly. Our deepest comforts aren't necessarily found in physical objects.
Which loops back to D. Williams and the tiny house movement.
Right. The ultimate manifestation of this simplicity journey for the author was building that tiny house. She attended a workshop, met D. Williams, and it just solidified their goal.
It became a powerful symbol for them.
Definitely. And their tiny house, it became this symbol of intentional living. Just 128 square feet.
Tiny.
Yeah, a fraction of a typical home. Built for about $33,000.
Which, for them, was like 3 years of rent.
Exactly. It showed just how much less you really need to live abundantly. It had this cozy pine interior, a versatile window nook.
For reading, storage, even a guest bed.
Yeah. And a sleeping loft that perfectly maximized the vertical space.
It sounds really well designed. And what's surprising is how structurally sound these tiny homes often are.
Right. They're not like RVs.
No, they're often built to the International Building Code, so they're suitable for different climates. Big difference.
Plus the affordability, the potential for urban infill.
And that coziness factor. For practical space saving inside, they relied on multi-purpose items.
Like those clean canteens for coffee and water.
Yep. And really using vertical space with shelves to keep counters clear. Little things make a big difference.
So ultimately, this deep dive is about shifting focus, moving from just accumulating things
to accumulating what really matters.
Yeah. And for all this talk of buying happiness, there's one asset that really stands out as the ultimate wealth, something we often take for granted.
Time.
Time, exactly. And the research here offers a surprising paradox.
How so?
Todd Kashdan and Alan Kruger noted that despite all our time-saving tech, people spend less than 20% of their day on truly meaningful activities.
Less than 20%.
Wow. And they still feel like they lack time. It's a genuine time poverty.
And that sense of time poverty is hugely impacted by our daily routines, like commuting.
Commuting.
Researchers Stitzer and Frey found long commutes are just terrible for happiness and health.
I'm surprised there.
They even calculated people would need to earn 19% more per month just to be fully compensated for the negative hit from their commute.
19%, that's huge.
It is. And Logan, the author's husband, found a simple but profound solution. Biking to work.
Saved money, boosted his mood.
Exactly. Give him freedom.
Another huge time sink, and often a source of that consumerist pressure, is screen time.
Oh, yeah. TVs everywhere.
Can you believe the average American home has more TVs than people?
That's wild.
Logan had this aha moment realizing TV put him in a vegetative state. His heart rate actually dropped lower than when he was sleeping.
Whoa.
So they just hid the TV in the closet.
Really? Just hid it?
Yeah. Forced them to be more intentional with their time. Led to happier activities and bonus, way less exposure to ads constantly telling them to buy stuff.
That makes sense. And this extends to the idea of digital sabbaticals, right?
Yeah.
Taking breaks from technology.
Definitely. Sherry Turkle talks about technology's dopamine reward system, how addictive it is.
It hijacks our brains a bit.
But the author experienced real positive changes when she consciously unplugged. Digital sabbaticals meant more reading, deeper quality time.
And increased creativity.
Yeah, a noticeable increase. Sometimes that stillness, that quiet, is the best way to reconnect with yourself and spark ideas.
It really is. Which brings us to another core idea the sources unpack.
Let me guess. Experiences over things.
You got it. The profound truth that experiences trump things pretty much every time.
The author's bike camping trip is a perfect example. $50.
Just $50.
For a memorable weekend that taught her she was stronger than she thought. She realized those memories, those adventures.
Way more important and lasting than any object she could buy.
And the research totally backs this up. Scott Russell Sanders suggests money can't buy the things that actually bring happiness beyond basic needs.
Things like family, community, health, purpose.
Right. And Elizabeth Dunn's research adds to that.
Yeah.
Once basic needs are met, income isn't a strong predictor of happiness.
Okay.
She found spending on experiences generally gives more lasting satisfaction than buying stuff. Why? Because we adapt so quickly to newness.
That shiny new car just becomes the car.
Exactly. The novelty wears off fast. The author's own author, Kathy Heddick, shared some incredible wisdom here, too.
Oh, yeah. What'd you say?
She believed money provided stability, sure, but definitely not happiness. She pointed to her Uncle Bill, unhappy despite his wealth, and her own parents, constantly arguing over money. Her mom always valued experiences, summer camp, ski trips far more than stuff.
It's like a generational truth being passed down.
Totally.
And what's truly fascinating here is how all of this circles back again and again to the paramount importance of relationships.
Right. The author's personal journey started with valuing, big diamonds and shopping.
The typical markers.
But she describes this profound internal shift. She transitioned to prioritizing her relationship with Logan, intentionally working to improve their marriage through simple living.
So it wasn't just about individual decluttering, it was about strengthening their connection.
Exactly. Which raises a big question. What do people truly desire from each other?
Well, the sources clearly suggest it's time, love, and attention. Pretty simple, really.
Jenna's story illustrates this perfectly. Her parents struggled financially. Her mom had a shopping addiction.
Sounds tough.
But their consistent presence provided security. And ultimately, that's all she truly needed from them. Not things, just them.
That's powerful. And the power of community comes up again, too.
Big time. Intentional communities, these groups of like-minded people organizing around a common purpose.
They provide essential friendship, encouragement.
Especially when you're making non-traditional choices, like the author and her husband did with biking and the tiny home. They found incredible support there.
That makes a huge difference. And then there's volunteering.
Oh, the benefits are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, Stephen Post's research in It's Good to Be Good is pretty compelling. Regular volunteering, even just 2 hours a week.
Leads to lower stress, less depression.
Even a lower mortality rate. Plus, it fosters feelings of mastery, increased life satisfaction.
The author felt that herself, coordinating volunteers. It gave her this deep sense of belonging and purpose.
It's not just good for others, it's profoundly good for you.
And working with victims of violence taught the author something else.
What was that?
A humbling lesson. You never know what kind of emotional baggage people are carrying.
That's perspective.
It led her to practice genuine kindness and non-judgment. And you see this reflected in reader anecdotes.
Like the community garden or shared cooking.
Mentorship, a neighbor mowing a lawn for someone in distress. These small acts of kindness create ripples. They deepen connections.
Beautiful.
So if you're listening and thinking about how to build these kinds of connections, the practical advice is surprisingly simple.
Like what?
Formal volunteering, sure, but also just actively introducing yourself to your neighbors.
Going back to basics.
Yeah, and even going car-free or car light like the author did, that connected her to her local bike community.
It forces interaction sometimes.
Exactly. These actions foster real, rich community. And ultimately, happiness, as this whole deep dive reveals, it can truly be found in those small acts.
Small acts of kindness, deep social connections.
Cultivating gratitude, practicing mindfulness, and in what the author calls tiny pleasures.
Tiny pleasures.
Like buying a single perfect door 99 peony. It's about finding joy in the simple, everyday moments that are already all around us.
Okay, so to recap and reflect on our deep dive, we've really explored how deeply rooted this desire for happiness is, and how often we're kind of led down this path of acquiring more stuff, accumulating debt.
Only to find ourselves running endlessly on that hedonic treadmill.
Exactly. But this journey into Tammy Strobel's experience and the stories of so many others, it reveals a different, maybe far more powerful truth.
Which is?
That real happiness is found not in more, but in intentional choices. Choices that prioritize time, rich experiences, meaningful relationships, and genuine service to others.
It's definitely a challenging journey. I mean, the author herself noted she temporarily went into debt for her tiny house.
Right, it's not always a straight line.
But it's a path that ultimately leads to embracing who you truly are, not who you think society tells you you're supposed to be. It's about authentic well-being.
Well said. So here's a final thought for you to consider. If, as Martha Washington apparently said, the greatest part of our happiness depends on our dispositions, not our circumstances, and if it's true that you shouldn't let the world speak for you, then what's one single intentional choice you could make this week? Just one to align your daily actions with your own authentic definition of happiness, rather than letting those societal norms dictate your path.